Three, two, one. I'm counting in. I'm assuming we're live. I'm not sure. We're still figuring this out if you're watching this, and we are, in fact, live at this point. Hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. I have a distinguished panel of comics, as always, to talk about some of the news of the week. Dana Gould is back with us. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for doing the show. I appreciate it.
Hi, Brian.
Matt Weinhold is back without your Captain Kirk. So I was hoping, keep hoping you're going to wear your Captain Kirk uniform. You still got it?
You know what? I wish I had that particular one because it was very nice. It was a quality piece of attire. It was made of velour, and they just don't make them that way anymore.
Nah, they don't make Star Trek uniforms like they used to.
like everyone says, you know.
Did you ever meet Shatner? I had a chance to meet you met Shatner?
Oh yeah.
And
a number of times.
And what was your experience like with Shatner?
Well, the first time was he was doing the play Love Letters with his wife, and I came to the backstage door
jokes.
to get five wives. Yes.
One drowned, so four.
Yeah.
No, this is not the drowned one. No, this is pre that. But so I bring my Star Trek 4 The Voyage Home lobby card to be signed, and I'm waiting at the door, and I hand it to him, and I hand him the pen, and he just looks at me, and then looks down at the lobby card, then looks up again, and then signs it. And
didn't say a word. That was it.
No. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't have a Love Letters lobby card, so. And then the second time I met him was at an audition where it was really great. He was for Boston. He was shooting Boston Legal.
Oh, I love Boston Legal. He was great in Boston Legal.
Yeah, and I was auditioning, and he happened to just come around the corner. He's going to go into the studio. Red lights on. He can't go in yet. And I'm standing there in my suit, getting ready to do my audition. And he's standing there, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And I go, "Great. How you doing?" "Fine." "Doing an audition?" "Yep." "We'll break a leg." "Well, thanks, man." And that was it.
This photo was taken. It was October 11th. That's me.
Okay.
That's Shatner.
That ant in the back of Shatner.
But I didn't meet him. I'm afraid to meet him.
Why?
Because I like, huh, what?
Yeah, right.
I would have to throw away too much.
Well, see, that's like here's my Shatner story. Is I hosted an afternoon show about 10 years ago for ABC in San Francisco, and he was coming to town he had a one-man show for a while, and I guess he was just telling stories, and we were offered Shatner. And the executive producer of the show was a super Star Trek fan. I mean, I can't keep up with these 9 million Star Trek series that are out now. I mean, I like the OG ones and the OG films and everything.
I get it.
I'm not even a Next Generation guy. And so he's a big OG fan. And we had to decide, the two of us, whether or not we were going to take him, because I had heard some unkind stories, a number of unkind stories. Oh, yeah. I've heard from people who worked with him a number of unkind stories. And I'm not saying I don't know. I wasn't there.
Meaning the rest of the Star Trek cast.
Yeah. We're talking about William Shatner?
I've heard some unkind stories. I mean, other people, though. Other actors.
Sabotage? That kind of
thing.
Shatner?
Yes. So we decided not to have him on because we were afraid if he came in and he was an asshole, it would ruin Captain Kirk for us. Oh. And so that's exactly what happened to you. Yeah. It sounds like you're exactly your.
Well, it didn't happen. I don't want it to happen. What I was told, I've been told by people that know him pretty well, you just ask him about dogs or horses or anything but Star Trek, and he'll be great. And what I would say is, like, we don't live far away from each other. I see him at the CVS a lot. I think we might be neighbors, but even like having somebody say, I think we might be neighbors is weird. I think if I ever do meet him, and I've been told I will, I'll just be like, nice to meet you.
And that's exactly it.
Really, yeah.
You're not going to yell from across the store, "Kingdom of the Spiders."
Well, what I want to do is I want to write a remake of Pray for the Wildcats,
Oh,
which I think
I don't
could
know what
be
is I don't know that.
TV movie he made
movie.
in 1970, which would be a brilliant comedy.
yes.
But then I just my fear is Pray for the what? Take off.
Tell him you want to reboot the Barbary Coast.
Yeah, I just
Barbary Coast. Yes, yeah.
I just wet my pants.
Yeah, I met who have I met from the original? I interviewed Walter Koenig once.
He's lovely.
Walter is great.
He was a very, very nice man. You know, the best I got. I had James Doohan on when I hosted the morning show for Fox. I had James Doohan on.
He could be salty.
Oh man.
Yes.
And so I said, and I just read Star Trek Memories, which was Shatner's book about just about the movies and all that stuff.
They hate me.
And
they all hate me.
Yeah, that's what he said. And so I asked him, and I forgot how I brought it up. And I go, so what's the deal with you and Shatner? He goes, I can't stand him. And I go, well, what happened? Why? He goes, he knows what he did. He knows what he did. In that Scottish accent, but it's put on. Obviously, that was acting.
Yeah.
He didn't have the accent. He was Canadian. And here's the thing that surprised me. He was missing fingers. He was missing some fingers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I think these two fingers here were gone. And that's always good when you shake someone's hand and you don't know. Yeah. that's always uncomfortable. You shake somebody's hand and they're missing fingers.
Yeah. I think from the military service he lost those. I think.
That sounds right. He was in the Royal Canadian, is it Army or what is it that they got up there?
Mounties?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, no, I think he lost. I could be wrong, but I think he lost in the war somehow. But
so I asked him. So I said, so why? So what happened? He goes, he knows what he did. And I go, and this is all live television. I go, well, what did he do? And then he goes, I just don't like the man.
Yeah,
I mean exactly like that, and cut it off. And I cut it off, and I didn't know why he was in town. You know, these things where they'll hire celebrities to come in and sell a coffee maker or something.
Yeah, Bill was the people that I know that know him will tell you, Bill was number one on the call sheet, and he took that very seriously. And he carried the show, and he did carry the show.
He did,
but he would also, if it was a scene with you, and if it was Dr. McCoy and Scotty and Bill, he would have no problem going, well, Jimmy only has one line. Give it to me, and we don't even need him.
Wow.
And he would do that right in front of you without like, well, wow. That's more for me, and I'm the star. What?
Wow.
It's like,
it's interesting. I was watching recently. I'd not seen in a million years the Adam West Batman series. And I met Adam West when I was 16, which is a long story. I'll tell you guys. He was
the greatest.
Yeah, well, he was cool, but it's interesting to find out about, he and Burt Ward had a lot of issues on set, and it was because he would do stuff like we were talking about with Shatner. Because where they have they'll have this dialogue back and forth, and Robin will be talking and go, precisely, old chump, and he'd jump in. He was cutting him off. And he was cutting his line off. And every time you see that, that's what he's doing. He's not letting him get his line up,
Burt Ward wrote a book called Back to the Batcave.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
That was pretty fast and loose about what they did. And I worked with Mr. West not long after that on The Simpsons. And I said, but I felt comfortable enough by that time. I'd been around him enough. I said, so did you read Burt Ward's book? And he went, the hubris. Couldn't have.
Great.
Perfect.
That's perfect.
It's great when people behave the way you want them to.
You want to do. Well,
He was also a dear, though. He was also sweet. Adam was a really sweet guy.
Well, here is my Adam West story. It's 1980. I'm 16 years old, and I wrote for a little local throwaway weekly paper here in the East Bay. And they gave me 200 words a week or 300 words a week to write whatever I wanted. I just didn't get paid, but I got in print. So I used that to interview.
You don't
people.
have to apologize for the size of the column you wrote when you were 16.
To the size of that check that I got. That's what I got to apologize for. But I used it. I used that column to interview people who were on old shows. I was a big fan of old TV, so I met Dobie Gillis, Dwayne Hickman from that. I met Jack Kelly, and I got to be friends from that. A lot. Ray Walston from My Favorite Martian.
Wow.
So I get around to Adam West, and so Adam West invites me to his house, to come to his house in Pacific Palisades. So I bring a buddy with me who's a super, 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 super Batman fan. And we took the bus and we had our suitcases with us and everything. And we go to Adam's house and ring the
You're not
door.
living with me.
And there's two 16-year-olds holding suitcases standing on his doorstep. And we explain, no, we're not staying, we're not staying. So here's what the deal was, is that Warner Brothers had announced that they were making a new Batman movie. Peter Guber and John Peters and Peter Guber, they were going to make it. They call 81 the year of the Batman. And that was long before Keaton, but that was when they first started it. And so what he wanted us to do, there was going to be a big announcement in New York. And he wanted us to, on these two 16-year-olds, on our own dime, to fly to New York. And when they made the announcement, start going, is Adam West going to be in it? What about Adam West? Why is Adam West not on it? He should be here at this press on our own dime. He said, we're 16. It's all we can do is scrounge the money to get to Los Angeles on Greyhound. And he wanted us to do, and at the time, it was the same time. Remember when they took Clayton Moore's mask away from the Lone Ranger?
Right, yeah.
And they made him wear like wraparound sunglasses or something. And he figured it was the same kind of deal because that movie tanked because there was a backlash because it wasn't Clayton Moore. But Clayton Moore was the Lone Ranger. He went to hospitals and visited kids with cancer and did that's all he did was that stuff. And so to take that away from him is just, have you ever heard that story that, oh God, who used to tell it? Who was played Carlo Tortelli's husband on Cheers. I forget his name. Oh my God, he was a radio guy who did a lot.
I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Jay, I completely forget.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So he used to tell the story on Letterman every year. And I know we're getting way off topic where we go, but we're talking show business.
Oh, this is right on topic.
So he would tell the story every year, and you can find it on YouTube and go and find it if you can. It's hysterical about how he was an FM DJ like back in the 70s, and he was he had to do a remote from a used car lot with Clayton Moore, and Clayton Moore's there in this whole his old Lone Ranger outfit with the hat and the mask and the whole thing. And they're like hippies. He and his buddy, they're like hippies. And they're high. They get stoned before they see the Lone Ranger, so they're Rika dope. So somebody says to him, listen, Clayton needs a ride back to the Ramada Inn where he's staying. So can you guys take him? And they're like, well, yeah, sure. So he sits in the back of this tiny little, like gremlin or whatever it is you're driving in, and it reeks of dope. And he's just sitting in the back while they drive. And a car comes up next to him and nicks him while they're driving. I guess does a fender bender and then takes off. Doesn't stop, keeps going. So they chase this car. And Clayton Moore's in the back. So they catch up to the car. They both jump out, and they say to the guy, you ran into us, you hit us, you dented our car. You're going to have to pay for this. This was your fault. You cut us off. And the guy goes, yeah, well, you know what? You guys are nothing but a couple of hippie freaks. He goes, who are they going to believe, you or me? And then Clayton Moore gets out of the car, and he walks up and he says, they'll believe me, citizen.
Wow.
Don't believe me, citizen. It's like the best story. He would Letterman would have him on every year just to tell that story at Christmas time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Has there ever been anybody famous who you've met who disappointed you because they weren't? I mean, I've had more experiences with people who I didn't expect much from, who ended up being just phenomenal, as opposed to people who weren't, and you don't have to mention names if you don't want to.
No. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to say it. Michael Moore is an asshole.
Okay.
I've heard that.
I've heard this too. Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and I agree with him 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do real time with Bill Maher a lot. And
do you still?
No, but I mean, I still like Bill. I have no problem with Bill. But I met a lot of people, and it was odd because the people I disagreed with tended to be nicer.
Right.
Charlton Heston.
Couldn't have
been nicer.
Really?
Couldn't have been nicer. Also, the film critic. The really right-wing film critic guy.
Well,
Michael Medved.
Michael Medved.
Michael
Medved. I interviewed him once too.
I was sitting in the green room reading this book, City of Nets, which is about Hollywood in the 40s. And he was also on the show. And he wrote down like 8 books, and he just went, if you like that book, you'll probably also like these.
Oh,
wow.
I was like, well, thank you. And I now know his brother, Harry, really well. And it was just like, well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And then like Maxine Waters and Michael Moore and all the people that I tend to agree with were just like, could not be bothered.
Oh, Maxine Waters? That disappoints me.
I asked her, I said, how do I refer to you, ma'am? And she went, you can call me Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Oh, all right.
That's something of a mouthful.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, on The Simpsons, you worked with Phil Hartman, didn't you? Or did you?
I had met Phil, but I never worked with him on the show. That was before my time on the show, but I did see him about 48 or 72 hours before he passed away at a event singing Love Shack karaoke with his wife.
Are you kidding?
Weird.
Nope. Michael Myers.
Really?
Yep.
And then, wow. And then 48 hours later.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days later. Spooky.
Yeah, that was
I met him about a week before that in Las Vegas. Weird. And Dana Carvey was with him, and I believe his wife was with him, and we were all just having a nice little dinner. Mark Pitta, I think, was also working in the area, and we just sat around and traded some laughs, and everything seemed to be fine.
Yeah, until she found out he was going to leave.
Till they weren't.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I tell my kids, crazy chicks are fun until they're not. Until they're not. Yeah. And once they're not, it can end badly. I mean,
well put.
I mean, how many times has your wife said to you, "I'll kill you in your sleep"? I mean, think about that. How many times has that been said to you? And yeah. And she actually did it. Well, anyway.
Yep.
All right, we should get to a couple of current events before we run out of time.
Nah.
Want to keep telling Saga show business? Well, let me just. I'm going to throw this out. This a question for Dana, and then we'll open it up. We do this is we give you each a question and let you talk, and then we open it up so that way you get a single close up by yourself. All right. So Costco is suing the Trump administration for overstepping its authority to impose tariffs and demanding its money back if the Supreme Court strikes those tariffs down. The Supreme Court heard the argument last week, and we're waiting to see what it is that they do. And so the case, what he used as justification was the International Economic Powers Act. And the Supreme Court they questioned whether or not he had the right. There were 5 retailers who sued. And so bottom line is, if the Supreme Court says those tariffs are no good, all the money that was taken has got to be replaced. And it's something like $90 billion. It's not the $1 trillion he claims. Right. It's like $90 billion. But apparently quite a large chunk of that comes from Costco. So I guess the question is this: do you think the court has bent over backwards to give Trump whatever he wants? I mean, it's just ridiculous in terms of the things that were no brainers that instead they went away, they went a direction that shocked
Sure.
everybody. So, do you think the court's going to do the right thing in terms of these tariffs, because they're killing the economy among other things? And what does this make you think of Costco? I mean, because the obvious joke is, where they get their lawyer Kirkland. I mean, that's the joke. That's the joke that's right there.
Well, Costco has great dog food, and now that more Americans are having to eat dog food, I think
Yeah.
yeah. Well, let me take 2 steps back. The thing about the right wing that I admire, and this goes back a long time, is that every accusation is a confession, and it's brazen. The whole point of when Kerry ran against Bush,
Yeah.
they're like, well, it's great because Bush was a draft dodger and Kerry's a war hero. So what did they say? Oh, Kerry's a war criminal.
Yeah.
They go to the reverse, and the entire point, and what did Trump accuse Biden of doing? Weaponizing the Justice Department.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of brilliant. It's gaslighting made a fine art. In terms of what's happening with the Supreme Court, John Roberts said, "I'm just here to call balls and strikes," and he's turned out to be one of the most partisan Supreme Court justices in our history. Someone compared him to Taney, who wrote the Dred Scott decision. And certainly this court has overseen the dismantling of democracy. This court has done as much for democracy as the Dred Scott decision has done for freedom. I would not be, and the Supreme Court will also reverse itself for what they perceive as the betterment of the country. A great example of that is Bush v. Gore, where for lack of basically Alito said this, they didn't want the country to be torn apart by ripping through, by doing the whole election over. They just call it, it's him. Now, if it was the reverse and Gore might have been ahead, they might have said, you got to do it. But they can retrofit any decision. They'll contradict themselves, for any decision. But to that end, I can see them striking down the tariffs in an attempt to save Trump from himself. If Costco thinks they're going to get a dime, they're insane.
Really? You don't think they're going to?
No, they will. No, because that would be too devastating. I believe that they would see that as too, that the government can't afford it. And what I think that they would do is they will find a way to overturn the tariffs, but they won't have to pay anything back. And if you think they can't pull that off.
No, I do. I had thought about that. I do. Believe me. I think they can pull it off.
Yeah.
No question. Matt, thoughts?
Well, see, and that's the thing too, is that with everything that happens with Trump, I always go to this place of, well, okay, now he's guilty. Courts have, found him guilty and all these things, but nothing seems to ever really come of it. And I just don't know. I mean, I've become a little cynical now because I keep waiting.
A little? A little?
Well,
a little? The guy had 34 felonies. A little?
Well, you try to keep your head on straight, but Jesus, I mean, I keep waiting for the scales of justice to come in. And it always seems that, we get the courts behaving in the way that they should, and everything seems to be taking the proper legal avenues. And then we get to the Supreme Court, and then it's like, yeah, well, whatever he wants. And so once you have that, I don't know how we can get that kind of justice. I mean, we're really in a fuck situation.
Yeah, someone said this, but it's true. No one's going to save us. The court's not going to save us. He's never going to. What's going to happen is maybe the economy will go so south that people will electorally turf him when the
Well, that's
time
happening.
comes.
I mean, that's actually happening.
Yeah.
Right. But
Here's
we'll see what happens in the future. That is happening. And it's nice to know that if Nazism did occur in this country and we were exterminating people, that we would tolerate it until eggs became too expensive.
Right.
That would be the
That's
thing.
not.
that
This
really-
isn't funny, but
No,
It's true,
no,
though. It's like-
it's
absolutely
not
the
funny.
truth. Yes.
But
And
it
by the
is the
way-
truth.
and look, you know, and I think that, you know, if you look at the McCarthyism in the 50s,
Mhm.
that was a weird sort of PTSD response to the trauma of World War II. I think that people wanted to, you know, just put the war behind them. And then this other threat, they were made aware of this other potential threat and they lost their minds.
Do you
Because
know?
it
Do you know?
was a
at what
trauma.
point-
I think it was a trauma response.
Do you know? And I really should do more reading about this because there was always that kid in school who knew everything about World War II. I wasn't that kid. But Stalin was our ally. I mean, I listen to old radio, and I've got
Yeah,
radio.
he was our ally until VE Day, and then he was our enemy.
And he was our enemy,
Right,
basically.
yeah.
I mean, like I listen to old radio, and I have some old radio shows from Walter Winchell. You know, he would do 15 minutes every Sunday, and
And all the ships at sea.
yeah, come on, Mr. America, yeah, Mr. Miss America, all the tips to see, and he's calling Stalin Uncle Joe
Yeah, Uncle Joe.
during the whole thing.
FDR, yeah.
And then 3 years later, where we got the Cold War.
It was on a dime. It was on a dime, and it all took place in Berlin. And there was, do you know about Operation Paperclip?
I've
when
heard
they
of
were-
it, but I
when
don't
they
know
were
what it is.
going, when they were, they had all the Germans, all the Nazis were going to go to prison, except the ones that we could use, like the scientists and the doctors. And there was a war between the Soviet Union and the United States to see who could get the most Nazi scientists. And it was called Operation Paperclip because on their papers, there would be paperclipped a little folder. This guy's going to go to New Mexico. He's not going to Nuremberg. And that's how we went to the moon. Because Werner von Braun, the famous Nazi rocket scientist, as the old Joe said, he aimed for London, overshot it, hit the moon.
Never heard that.
And
Disney's pal.
yeah, but and I think that in the way that McCarthyism was a trauma response to World War II, that Trumpism and what we're going through now is a trauma response to the extinction of white heterosexual Christian men of European descent as the dominant cultural force in this country, as triggered by the election of Barack Obama.
Yeah.
That broke half the country's brain. And how did Barack Obama get elected? There's only one way he got elected. The economy tanked in 2008.
Yeah.
And it got so bad, people voted the party in power out.
Well, I'll tell you that there's a great story. My favorite story from the 2008 election is there was a pollster, and the AP had this. There was a pollster who was canvassing in somewhere in Pennsylvania. I want to say Philadelphia, and knocking on doors, asking a couple days before the election, who are you going to vote for? You know, you're going to vote for. So he knocks on this door, and this woman, his housewife, answers, and he says, "Hi, we're just taking a poll. We want to know who you're going to vote for in the election. You're going to vote for Barack Obama, or you're going to vote for John McCain." And from the back, you hear a guy yell, "Who is it, honey?" And she says, "He wants to know who we're voting for." And the guy yells back, "Tell him we're voting for the N-word."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I thought, and that's when I knew Obama was going to win. When I heard that story, I thought Bush has lost the racists.
My
He's
brother,
lost the racists.
my brother, who could have been that guy, voted for voted for Obama because of what his 401k did in 2008. People lost 30% of their retirement.
Yeah.
And they, things got so desperate. They did it's the perfect example of what Churchill said. You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've exhausted every other possibility. And that's what happened.
Every other option.
Yeah.
You mentioned the war crimes trial. we've got this horrible situation in Venezuela where, in the Caribbean, where you've got Trump and Hexa blowing up their
Yeah.
fishing boats.
Yeah.
And
Completely brazenly illegal.
yes,
Flat out illegal.
They're
from the
blowing
get-go.
up fishing boats, and from what I understand, these are they're supposedly drug smugglers, but these are boats that, like, they say they're like what you would water ski behind.
Yeah. Somebody
that's
says they're drug smugglers.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
That's what we
without
have.
due process, and in fact, the military lawyer wrote a memo saying that this is a violation of international law and constitutes a war crime.
Yeah.
And Pam Bondi and the DOJ threw it up and threw it
it's
away, just
utterly-
completely ignored it. Okay, so now you've got this September 2nd attack that is come to the light and so forth. They've killed almost 90 people, by the way, and again, none of them with any due process. Have you seen any of these alleged drugs?
It's and there's so that's the evil brilliance of this is that there's a tsunami of this with the dismantling of USAID, under Doge probably has cost 600,000 people their lives globally.
Yeah. Most of them children, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, and Doge cost money. It didn't save any money.
No.
It was all it did was kill people. But you have 8 of those things a day. Your brain can't comprehend it all. And it's, I would love to see Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi going to war crimes trials.
All right, that's what I'm going to, that was my next question. Do you see, I mean, again, looking at September 2nd, the September 2nd incident as like the key incident, again, not counting the other 80 odd people that they just blew up for no reason. Hegseth, according to his subordinates, gave the orders, kill everyone. And after the ship was hit, there were 2 survivors in the water, and they killed them. There's
double
two unarmed survivors.
A double tap.
A double tap?
That's called a double tap. Yeah. Make sure they're dead.
And now he denies it or doesn't remember. I mean, it's just all of this crap. And, so my question is, do you
the way they threw that admiral under the bus was brilliant, because basically what they said was, we support Joe for doing this. Joe's a great guy.
Yeah, right.
Joe Smith of Maple Street has our full support for doing this.
Yeah.
It was kind of brilliant.
I don't know if it would have been my decision, but anyway.
But I support him for doing it. Yeah, no, it's been, I'm just surprised that people have called it out as much as they have. Genuinely surprised.
Well, but it takes the second thing. It's like you have all these attacks on these boats, and then when they kill the survivors, then that's the big war crime. Well, it's illegal from the very beginning.
I'm surprised people have flagged it at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, why this? Why this and not the 400,000 other things?
Well, and that's what always.
What about the masked people jumping people on the streets and throwing them in cars?
That is what is always the head scratcher for me. And I guess it makes sense when you were talking about Dana with the evil genius behind this, but the idea that all these things, that if Biden had done one of them, it would be the end of everything.
Yeah.
Or if Obama had done, imagine if
Obama couldn't have done anything.
Imagine if Obama had 5 kids with 3 baby mamas.
He would have been impeached if his motorcade ran a red light.
Right. Remember who was the guy who was the macaca guy? You remember
macaca over here.
Who was that? Who did that?
I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but he his campaign tanked because he used this weird, I don't know, like antiquated.
It's a type of monkey.
Racist word, and it's over. And like there's no way that would ever happen now. Like,
Well,
that's
look at
nothing.
Gary Hart. I mean, that's the example I always point to. Gary Hart was like the front runner for the Democratic nomination in the early '90s. I think when Clinton was running, for a while was a front runner, and he took a picture of him and Fawn Hall, I think her name. No, Fawn Hall was Oliver North, but some good-looking young woman, sitting on his lap
in front of the monkey business,
in front of a boat called the Monkey Business. Over. That's it.
It's also strange because there is, and it's highly likely that somebody else wouldn't get away with it. There's something about, I mean, the weird feral genius of the president is that it's like Andy Dick. He'll do 11 things a day and you just can't keep up with it.
Right.
And people just go, eh. I mean, he's been lawless all of his life.
Oh yeah, he's never been held
accountable. If you never, and it's kind of like Andy Dick. It's just like if you have no shame, the sky's the limit. If you're not, if Gary Hart had Trump, he would have, yeah, I did it. I did it 10 minutes ago.
Oh well, shit! I just watched the Charlie Sheen doc. Have you seen the Charlie Sheen doc on Netflix? Same thing. Until he was HIV positive. That's the only accountability I see.
Yeah. And there's some people if they're not, people sense that they have no shame and they just go. It doesn't,
Well, in politics, it seemed like there was a point where someone finally got the message. Just do what you want and forget about any kind of ramification. Is just go for it.
But the thing is the thing was the people that emulate Trump and think that they can get away with everything, they're not
as good.
Well, they're not really malignant narcissists the way that he is.
No, they're not.
Could anyone be?
And you can't fake it. It's like you leave yourself open to it. It's like you show fear and people can smell the fear. Right. He has to his credit, he would walk into your house and steal your kids, walk out, not think about it twice. It's just like he's truly an animal.
What's interesting, an aside, since he's been president, I have not met a woman who was divorced or had been through a breakup who did not describe her ex as being a narcissist. That's the big word. I'm serious.
Sure.
Every divorced woman I've met in the last 10 years, my ex-husband was a narcissist. And I was talking to a therapist who said, yeah, well, that's because of Trump. And so that's why they throw that word around all the time. But every guy who they broke up with or who broke up with them did so because of the fact that he was a narcissist. And it's like, well, no. Yeah. You want to see a narcissist look towards.
Yeah, here you go.
House.
Well, yeah, whenever you get into I'm going to say this quietly because I'm not alone.
Your wife's not there.
She's in the room. But whenever you get into an argument with your wife, you just like count down to just 3, 2, gaslighting. There it is.
Well, that's the Chico Marx story.
Zero to gaslighting in 7 seconds.
That's the famous Chico Marx story that supposedly is true. That Chico Marx, the Marx brothers, comes home. His wife comes home, walks into the bedroom, and he's in bed with another woman in her bed. And she goes ballistic. She's yelling and screaming, and he stays calm. And the woman runs out. And while she's yelling at him and screaming at him and calling him every name under the sun, he just calmly gets dressed, puts on his socks, puts on his pants, puts on his shirt, and then she walks into the living room and sits in a chair, opens a paper, and she's yelling at him, screaming at him. He goes, well, what do you have to say for yourself? And he goes, about what? She goes, about that woman. He goes, what woman? The woman that was here in the bed. What are you talking about?
It's like the Lenny Bruce bit where he says, just deny everything. Deny it. If they have pictures, they have footage, they have x-rays, right. Deny.
Yeah. And well, you forget the key part of that joke was, and she'll believe you because she wants to believe you.
Right.
That's the key tag, that she'll believe you because she wants to believe you. And I think that describes MAGA. I think that as we talk about this, I think that describes MAGA. And they'll believe anything that he says. And well, here's the one that killed me.
It is. I mean, people say you're in a cult. It is because you know, and any of these people that say like it gives you agency, you belong to something.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a microcosmic analogy that, you know, I always got to look for where you know, a lot of people that describe themselves as feminist look the other way when Monica Lewinsky was thrown under a series of buses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And because it was cognitive dissonance, but it's like, yeah, he's a scumbag, but he's our scumbag.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
And her, when you know, the more I hear about her story now, as opposed to, because I was working in, you know, a newsroom at the time that this, you know, the Star Report came out and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and you know, this was at 20, what was she, 22? I
Yeah.
mean, how would you like to be defined for the rest of your life by
Yeah.
some mistake you made? And I mean, unless you killed somebody or
Yeah.
shot up a school or something. But I mean, you know, she was 22 years old, and he gets reelected. His wife becomes a senator, and no, he was in a second term when this happened. But his wife
Yeah.
becomes a senator. He ends up with a nice life, and she is the whore of Babylon,
Right.
you know, for the next 20 plus years. I hear she's got a podcast that's very good. And it's
I think
about,
she's,
you
I
know,
mean, she seems to have
rebounded.
achieved a level of respect. And, but it's true, you know, people, it's kind of like the thing you hear a lot about, well, you know, if the Epstein list print, going to be a lot of Democrats on that. And I was like, so?
So,
Right.
Yes,
exactly.
so.
So, if there are Democrats on it, like I say, you know,
Yeah.
that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans will try to defend theirs if they're on
Right.
there, whereas we say lock them up and
Yeah.
throw away the key.
Yeah,
You know,
we cut Al Franken off for posing
Yep.
for a goofy photo.
Right.
that was ridiculous. He should not have resigned for that. That was bullshit. He should not have resigned on the basis of that. I mean, 'cause I'm thinking, I mean, I'm sure as comics, we've all done something stupid that's on film or something dumb that's in a picture.
No.
Well,
that
not
was
you,
that was Chrissy Gillibrand wanting to be president.
president, and that's why she was out of the race fast. She was out of that primary. She was first one out of that primary because of what she did. And there are people that say Franken should run again and he'd win. You know, I definitely think that Franken should run again. But the question I wanted to ask you, and then I'll move on, is: do you believe that we will see in 2029 or 2030 war crimes trials? Do you think, based on, because there have been war crimes? I mean, you know, because of the fact with
Never.
No, none of them. Christy,
Never.
no, none of them.
Never.
So they're all going to be able to do this and abuse.
No, I can see how there will be organized protests at the unveiling of their statues, but I don't see them being held accountable.
Well, what tickles me is the Trump Library. I mean, you got a guy that you know. What's your favorite book? Art of the Deal. What's your second favorite book? The Bible.
Yeah, he had to think about it for a minute.
What's your favorite verse of the Bible? Second, 2 Corinthians. That's good. 2 Corinthians. Yeah. The second. Yeah. What's it about? Read it. You know what I'm saying? And he's getting the library. But see, it wouldn't be up to us. That's the thing. The rest of the world sees what he is and sees what this administration is, and that's why I wonder whether or not you would see some of these individuals before the Hague. I don't trust America.
So if he
I'd love
left
it.
the
I'd love
so
it.
if he left the country, he'd be arrested, and that sort of scenario.
Does he have to leave the country? I mean, they got Eichmann, and Eichmann didn't leave the country voluntarily.
I would support it. I mean, it would be, you know, there's going to be a different standard. He'll never be held accountable for anything. I would love to see people like Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and Christine Ohm, if not put on trial, which I don't ever see, exiled from polite society.
Yeah.
Their public careers. There is a possibility that the stench will be so unbearable that no one will ever want to hear or see from any of these people again.
Well,
that will be the sign for them to find God and become ministers. But outside of that, I don't see anything.
But if
I'd
the
love to
power
be
slips
wrong.
away from them, and then, you know, the ball's back in our court again, then that's get the same problem that we've been having for ages. Is that, okay, are we going to lose it again? because that's what seems to happen, is that once we have that ball, where's the game plan?
Yeah, well, once we have the ball, we look at ourselves and go, "Hey, you said you called something. You described a monkey as an ape. What? No.
All right, let me get to this. I did want to make sure that I got to this story. There is a woman by the name of, I'm saying find the page here. Holly Madison, which
Yes.
sounds like the baked goods. It's like cupcakes. Holly Madison.
Leave it there.
A former playmate, and she was one of Hefner's three girlfriends when Hefner had his show, his
Right.
reality show. And she wrote a book a while back, a memoir about her time with Hefner. And she was on some podcast, and she was talking about how when she was involved with him, that she had to perform some disgusting sex acts with him. And she didn't go into a lot of detail, but she said one of the things was orgies in their bed with lots of strange people. And she told him that she didn't like it, but he ignored her, and they did it anyway. And she says that that regular sex with Hefner was, even though he was 50 years older than all these playmates, was considered a chore, and you had to do it. And if you didn't do it, you got kicked out of the mansion. And so therefore all of the women who were living in the mansion were all sleeping with him so they could stay in the mansion. So that being the case, and we know a lot about women being groomed and women being victimized, especially after Me Too and Time's Up. I am torn on this. Were these women victims in your mind, or were they volunteers? I mean, they sleep with Hefner or leave the mansion. Okay, well, where's my bag? Or was it such a thing that they were under, so much mental control by a charismatic figure like, heard a great interview with Allison Mack, Allison Mack from Smallville.
Oh my
who
God,
sucked
that
up into
guy.
the
Yeah,
Nexium.
Nexium. Yeah.
And this guy, man, when you read her story, I mean, it's heartbreaking when you hear her story, how she got sucked into this whole thing, because it's a little bit at a time. So, I mean, was
And then
this
you
a
look
cult?
at the guy. You look at the guy and you listen to the guy, you go, really? That guy?
Mm-hmm.
That was the one you threw your entire life away for and got branded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, branded with his initials.
Did she
Yeah.
get branded too?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
one of the first ones.
Oh,
And then she talked to other women. Listen, there's a great, she gave one interview. Well, there's a podcast about her that's out called Allison After Nexium, where she's talking to some BBC journalists. But she sat down with Michael Rosenbaum. And Michael Rosenbaum played Lex Luthor on Smallville. He's got a wonderful podcast that I highly recommend. I think it's called Inside of You. And she sat down with him because out of all of her friends and people she'd worked with for 10 years on Smallville, he was the only one who called her and said, how are you doing? So she sat down with him, and it's a fascinating listen. They did an hour, and he asked her everything, and she didn't hold back. And her whole thing now is that she, this whole fight inside of herself about, am I a bad person? I did some bad things. I wasn't really in my right mind, but am I a bad person? I've always thought that I was a good person. So, but back to the Playboy thing. I mean, so were they victims or volunteers? Was it because she could have walked out of Nexium anytime she wanted to, by the way. So, but you had a charismatic figure who pretty much brainwashed these people. And is that what Hefner did to these women? A reason that they didn't leave?
Is there is the fact that it's Hugh Hefner? Like, let's say, you're on a blind date, and it turns out to be Hugh Hefner, and I think you kind of know going in a little bit, at least, what to expect from this lifestyle. I
Mhm.
mean, it's no secret that he has a sex grotto, and then on top of that, when you're in a relationship, and this is the other thing too, is the fact that it's not an employee necessarily or a follower, it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, and there are two other girlfriends. I mean, I think there's a little bit of like, hey, I mean, this is the world you're entering into. Now, does that excuse any kind of coercion or, pressure to do anything that you're uncomfortable with? Of course not. No. But I think let's just say there are some pretty obvious warning signs.
Yeah. There's certainly people that are in abusive situations do things that aren't, that don't appear rational on the surface. People who are trapped in abusive relationships are trapped and they feel they can't get out. That's part of the thing. You're at the Playboy Mansion.
And I gotta ask, we were talking before the year. Have you been?
Have you
been?
I have been to the Playboy Mansion.
I have
more than once.
I think so.
What do you think so? You're not sure?
No, because it was just like it was an HBO party or something, and I just remember a really sad zoo. And
I remember that zoo. Yes.
Yeah, and it was smaller than I thought it would be. I was never been inside it, but I was on the grounds and I saw the mansion, which just looked like it's just a house. It's a big house, but it's not. It's not ginormous.
You saw nothing untoward while you were there?
Oh God, no. It wasn't even. It wasn't that. No. It wasn't like a crazy hef party. It was somebody rented the mansion out, and he was supposedly up inside it someplace. But
you never saw him?
I saw him once at an autograph show at the Beverly Garland Hotel. I turned around and he was there in an ad and looked like dressed like the skipper from Gilligan's Island. But no, I stood next to him, but that was it.
The Beverly Garland, is that still around? Does that still exist?
It is, yeah.
Beverly Garland, who played Fred McMurray's wife on My Three Sons.
And was she Gunsmoke?
No, you're thinking of...
she's
Amanda
also in the
Blake.
film Not of This Earth, folks.
Right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with three of us, we know more TV trivia probably and movie trivia than anyone on the... We had to form a team or something and get on the show.
Beverly Garland.
On the show somewhere.
Beverly Garland, I love this story. Adam West used to come to LA all the time to do voiceovers, and he had a room at the Beverly Garland Hotel that Beverly gave him a rate for because they were all pals. Just like friends and family. Yeah, Adam, just pay whatever.
Wow. Last time I saw him, that 16-year-old experience I told you about. I saw him. When I go to LA, I stay at the Universal Sheraton or Sheraton Universal usually, and I was checking in, and he was checking in next to me, and I introduced myself and reminded him of that story, and he kind of laughed, and he had like a rolled up newspaper in his head, and he hit me on the head with it and, and said, "Have a good day," like I was a dog that just pissed on his rug. He hit me in the head with this rolled up newspaper, and it was the most bizarre. I've had two bizarre things like that happening at checking into that hotel. That was one. Other one was when they were doing when the Brady Bunch did that Home and Garden TV thing where they redid a couple of years ago the exterior of the Brady Bunch house that they showed you on TV.
In my old neighborhood.
Oh, you live there?
Yeah.
That neighborhood? Okay, well, the house on the inside looked nothing at all like the set. So what they did was they paid them all a fortune, got all 6 of the kids out to working with the HDTV actual people that know what they're doing, and they completely redid the inside of that house so that it matched exactly the set. And so it got huge ratings. I mean, just phenomenal, the biggest ratings that they ever got. And I'm checking into the hotel, and I'm waiting behind this gray-haired guy, and he goes, "It's Williams, Barry Williams," and I go, and I go, "Oh," I did a TV thing with him years ago. We gave away a house on TV or the drawing or something, but nice guy. But it's here's the funny thing about that house is so somebody bought it. Okay, somebody bought it for a lot of money because HDTV paid something like $1 million for it or something for exactly, and they got their money back from the advertising, but they sold it. And some woman bought it thinking she was going to do tours of it and make it a museum or something, and she's losing her ass because nobody's coming, and she can't sell it because it's all 70s.
I'd buy it.
beads and Formica and all
I'd
of
buy
that
that.
shit.
Yeah,
You
let's
would?
get a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that could be our headquarters. I worked with Danny Bonaducci, and because
As did I.
you mentioned Barry Williams, I know they had a fight. They had a
Really?
boxing match.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that. I remember
Yeah.
celebrity boxing. Yes.
Yeah, and of course Barry Williams lost, but
Yes.
but Danny,
Because Danny was sort of the missing link between man and fist.
but when I worked with him, he was the nicest guy imaginable. He was so cool, and
Yeah,
I would
I worked
bring
with him a lot when he was
Yeah.
Corolla's second banana.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was lovely, and he could take a joke. And I remember bringing him a Partridge Family record for him to sign. And he gave me a bunch of shit in a good natured way, but
Sure,
signed
yeah,
whatever I wanted, and was just lovely. And so yeah, you catch people at a good time in their life.
Yeah.
What happened to Susan Olsen, to Cindy Brady? Because she went like total right wing. She was a right wing radio host. I mean, and she ended up getting fired. And you know how hard it is for a right wing radio host
Yeah,
on
I know,
AM
it's
to
not
get
easy.
fired. What do you have to say? I don't know what she said, but what do you have to say to get fired?
She said something like, well, let's look at this from the other person's point of view. Fired immediately. How do we know they're drug dealers? They're just people in a boat. You're fired.
What was that celebrity boxing show? Because I remember it was a double bill. It was Danny Bonaducci and Barry Williams, and it was Tanya Harding and somebody else.
Angela
good
Lansbury.
Lord. I want to see that bout. Yeah.
Well, she
Where's the
won.
kinescope?
She won. I mean, she was because she was a street chick. I can't remember who she fought, but she fought. It might have been like Maureen McCormick or somebody like that. It might have been somebody who had no business setting foot in a ring. So, and with that, I know you got to scoot, Dana. So, anything you want to mention? Anything you want to plug?
I have a podcast called The Dana Gould Hour. Give it a listen.
All right, check out the Dana Gould Hour. Matt, where can we
bunch
find
of
you?
stuff.
A bunch of stuff, and also
I'll be at Sketchfest up in San Francisco in January, and we'll be doing
cool.
Hanging with Dr. Z live at Cobb's.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
I'll come see you when you come. And Matt has got a terrible cold, and we could not tell.
Well, thank you very much. I tried to suppress my coughs, but I have a podcast called Monster Party. We've been doing it for about 13 years now, and it's all about sci-fi, horror, and fantasy. And
I did one with you.
Yes,
guys.
you did it. Yeah, and you had a very nice time, didn't you? We talked
I had a
about
blast.
Superman.
I mean, we talked comics. Yes, I'll do it again.
I'm doing one tomorrow night.
How do you like that?
Oh, they're a blast. They're an absolute
Everybody within my sphere of influence.
blast. All of them.
It's a
All of
great,
them.
because not every podcast can be filled with outrage. You have to give yourself.
No, they
You have
can't.
to keep yourself sane.
No, and this is kind of a pure fun zone. So
Right.
anyway, listen to it.
All right, Dana Gould, Matt Weinhold. I will check you guys out soon. Please come back again. I would appreciate it very much. And Dana, I'll see you when you come to town. Matt, I'll see you when I come to your town, I guess.
Please.
So
All
good
right.
to see you again, buddy.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. I will check you out next week. Please be sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening to the audio version of this, same thing, like, subscribe, and go give us a 5-star review. It helps people to find the show. So until next time, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live. Now we're live, so we got to let ourselves out. you know where the door is.
I buried the money. I buried the money right.
See you, buddy.
I'll see you. Bye.